Hi, my name is Jace Olson, and I'm going to be doing my presentation on case 2-3, the tax return. In this case, it's about a girl named Brenda who prepares a tax return and submits it to her manager for it to be reviewed. She didn't think much of it until the manager called her into his office to talk about the tax return. One of the questions he asked her was why she included gambling winnings on this man's tax return. She explained to him that the tax law states that you are able to, or that you should report your gambling winnings as revenue, but you can offset it with gambling losses. She felt very confident in this statement, but the manager came back and said that the only way that you're allowed to do this is if you itemize on your tax return, whereas this client does not itemize. He is not able to offset his winnings with his losses. So he has to report his winnings on his tax return. But the client, hearing about this, was very upset, and so the manager is asking Brenda to take off the gambling winnings on the tax return. One of the things he says to Brenda is that it'll be a one-time thing and that he won't ask her to do it again. And he also says that there's many other loyal employees at the office who would be willing to do the same thing. So one of the things that we run into that's kind of a dilemma is the fact that there are different consequences that could arise from the way we react in this situation. One of the consequences could be that we do as the manager says and we omit the gambling winnings and nothing ends up happening. The client files their return and gets their refund as if nothing happened. But on the other end of the spectrum, we could learn that the IRS finds out about it and the client gets audited. Another thing that arises in what the manager says is that he states that other employees have done this, which is kind of his way of pressuring Brenda to commit this act of fraud and to saying that other people have done it as well, so she should too. But we know from the WorldCom scandal that that's kind of how that started as well. It was just by a one-time act ended up turning into something a whole lot bigger. The manager asked Brenda to come back after a few days and talk with him about what she was going to do. Some responses that Brenda could have for the manager is that it's better to lose a client than to lose our integrity. Our integrity is one of the most important things we have as accountants, and it's important for us to always be honest. And knowing that losing a client, we can always pick up other clients in the end, but it's hard for us to keep our integrity. And also another response is we could tell them that by doing this once, it could lead to it happening more times, and it could also end up being worse in the end. The last part of this case states that Brenda omitted the income, and the next year the client came back saying that he won even more money this year and would like Brenda to do the same thing. And so now what are we supposed to do? One solution that I've come up with is that we could talk to the client about itemizing on their tax return to plan for the future, knowing that he is going to gamble and could have winnings, and strategize with him so that he can itemize so he can take advantage of being able to offset his winnings with his losses. And that way the client will be happy and we will be happy knowing that we are still ethical. So in the end, I just want to summarize by saying that it's important for us to stand up for our values. And like we've learned in chapters 1 and 2 that Aristotle says that we are what we repeatedly do. And by continually being ethical, others will know that we stand up for our values. We also know that there's a snowball effect, that if we do allow one thing to happen, that it could snowball and become bigger. And then we can also look at other ways that we can strategize with the client to help make it a win-win for both parties. So, thank you.